They'll blanket you in Wi-Fi and profit off the radiation. Congregation collecting the people for that Satan. I keeps it blazing, cause I can read between the lines. I ain't blind, we unwind what they're really saying. Genetically modify what you're tasting. Don't need that cottage promise, so now you live up in your mom's basement. Redesign time so your mind is always wasted. Programmed to crave the basics. Keep the beta in stasis. Pay the state, kid. You're in debt for being born. Messengers are more than just the price for being warned. Don't be alarmed. Disconnect from their machinations. Stop subscribing to the folly of own nations. Bone breaking ain't the answer, cause they seek the ownership of souls. Spread the seeds and watch them grow. Break the chains of control. Break the chains of control.
Sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful, friends. Welcome back to your Rogue Ways episode for Thursday. It's the 21st, is that right? Oh, it's the 20th. It's the 20th of 2020. It was so weird this week because I was talking with my friend Brian. You may know Brian. This is so weird. Just randomly, I have to cut myself off and say that Restream has already told me that I've received 100 messages today, which is impossible because we just started 25 seconds ago. But anyway, what's up, Sue Finelli in the chat? But so I was talking with my friend Brian recently, and we were talking about the 18th, and this is before the 18th happened this week, which was what, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. And we were talking about how weird the 18th is and how many things happen on the 18th and all these things. Anyway, I felt like it had already been the 18th and it hadn't been because it was like the 16th or the 17th. And so I was really weirded out. It was like this weird thing where I just like didn't understand time well. Then I got to the 18th and this huge event I'm going to tell you about today happened on the 18th. And I was like, woo, it's so awesome. Celebrate, telling people, whatever. I already mentioned it on the last episode, so you may know already. But anyway, I'm pretending like this is the announcement of it. That happened on the 18th, and I was like, so cool. And I showed somebody, I was like, look, and they were like, it says the 17th. I'm like, what? It happened on the 18th for sure. Like, marked down in history as the 18th, but the site that hosts this thing said the 17th. And I was like, so what happened to the 18th then? Like, that's so weird. Then I was looking at the Democratic National Convention, the silly song that the guy sang, like the very heartless, like unenergetic, uncaring guitar player just like stood there and like played, and they're like, something's happening here, and like it was just like the worst, out of touch, stupid. I don't think they understand the meaning of that song if that's the song they're choosing to play. Anyway, that song is playing, and at the top it was like Democratic National Convention 16th, 17th, and 19th. And I'm like, is it not also the 18th? Like, did the 18th not have a Democratic National Convention? I'm pretty sure it did, but I'll show you. I have the picture here. Maybe you can see it through the phone. August 16th, 17th, and 19th. No, 18th. So again, the 18th got skipped. And I'm like, what the hell happened to the 18th? Did you guys experience the 18th? If so, tell me about it. Apparently it didn't happen in my reality. I don't know, man. It was weird. So this whole week has been off. I've been off like a day or two every single day this week. And it's been hard to figure out what's going on because I'm not good with time anyway. Like, I'm very prompt and I'm very timely, but I'm not good with understanding how much time is passing or like what, I don't know. I'm not good with time. And so it's been a weird week. And apparently I got to 100 messages already today, and apparently I'm locked out of my site, so we'll see if that changes in the next few minutes. What's up, Biggie Smollett in the chat, and the other people who are watching and haven't said so yet? What's up to you guys as well? It's nice to have you all here. I guess I'll drop the news, but I want to see if I can actually get into this site first. Oh, good, it's working now. It's been a very interesting week. I also had my first huge hailstorm not that long ago, like golf ball size hail falling, and almost ruining my car that I was driving. I drove home in this hailstorm and there was flooding and massive like rains. Apparently you're not supposed to drive in those conditions. I'm from Washington and I'm like, but it's raining really hard. Who cares? That happens all the time. But here in Colorado, when it rains really hard, it's a very different world. It's like floods. Like everyone was pulled over on the side of the road, and that should have been my clue that I should have pulled over too. But no, I kept driving. I'm like, you guys are pussies. This is just rain, which is hilarious. But I made it home safely, and the golf ball sized hail didn't ruin my house or car. It just ruined everybody else's houses and cars. So I'm very lucky, and it was great. It's been an eventful time, and the exciting things that are happening. I'm so excited to tell you guys this news. I'm so excited to tell you guys about it. While we're waiting for that news, I'm going to say what's up to Vanguard of Truth. You made it. Live episode. Nice to see you here. I know you make it a lot. I see your comments that you don't always make it, and I always hope that you can make it. So the other important news, which isn't the huge announcement, but is a really fun announcement, is that I just recorded with Sam Tripoli yesterday. No, on the 18th. It was on the 18th. See? The 18th doesn't exist. I think it was on the 18th. God, I really don't know. Anyway, just yesterday, the day before, I recorded with Sam Tripoli, and I'm very excited. That episode is going to be coming out soon, I think next week. And so yours truly, Lindsay Sharman, on Sam Tripoli's Tinfoil Hat podcast. Whoop whoop. Super excited about that. It went really well. It was an awesome episode. You're going to enjoy it. Crazy stories and fun things and just great ideas. That crew is an awesome group of people, and I look forward to doing more with them. I hope to join them in some of their ventures, and I'm very excited about that. So we'll see if Sam and I and the crew get together more often. Super excited about that. What's up, Kelly Crawford? Nice to see you here. Ooh, Kelly's daughter went into labor on the 18th. Born yesterday at 4:45. Congratulations to your daughter and your new grandchild. That's so exciting. What's up, Cobcheo? Made it here on DLive. What's up, my listeners on DLive? This is not streaming to Facebook lately because if you don't know, Facebook literally banned me for 30 days for writing actual scientific facts about masks. I'm not joking. Just typed text about factual evidence about masks. That's a 30-day ban for me, so I'll be back sometime in mid-September, but for now we're on DLive and YouTube. And what's up, Andrew Braseno? Thank you. I'm shining because I'm on this new diet and I actually have my energy back and my thyroid is not getting attacked as heavily as it has been, and really exciting announcements and things are happening. So let's get to those and exciting things. And as always, I like to tell you guys some stuff. I also want to talk to you guys about Millennial Millie and her movie as well today. Shadowgate. I don't even want to say the name or we'll get banned. But Shadowgate is pretty interesting, so we'll talk about that too. So yeah, you guys know by now that I have my site, which is the hub for all the many ventures that I do. I'm going to have to add another tab up here soon about podcast episodes or episodes that I've been on other people's shows and list them there because it's starting to happen more, which I enjoy so much. But in general, you can find my writings here. This is all free to you, so you can explore various things I and other guest authors, like this I call BS as a guest author. There's a couple guest authors spots sometimes as well. If you write things and you want to be a guest author on rogueways.org or corysharman.com, same site, two names, then let me know. I like to host people's ideas and beautiful writings. I love the noosphere down here. You can click on tags and go to various writings over the years that have to do with that. You can link to my Subscribe Star here. You can see some old episodes of Rogueways. The audio, at least, used to be hosted here. And you can see my published works. Sine Curve of Aeons is my first novel, and it is a story about the balance of time and space, of love and hate, of good and evil, of masculinity and femininity, and all of these things, and how they interact, and how humanity progresses or tries to progress within these cycles of time, sometimes thrusting us up into a golden age, sometimes dragging us down into a dark age. It is a pretty awesome story in a time and place unlike our own. You can also get that in hardcover here. You can get my memoir, A Gypsy on the Res, of my time teaching on a Native American reservation. Yes, I used to be a teacher, and my collection of poetry called Mutable Realia. Those are all available on Amazon and Lulu. I do tarot readings. Today I had the craziest, awesome tarot reading I've had in a long time. Super cool. Just amazing, an amazing amount of energy in this reading I did today. So I've been getting a lot more readings lately. I love doing them, so I love it when people want to grab them. If you have been sitting on the fence and you are thinking about it, it's you can't really go wrong with the tarot reading from me. It is brand I don't know what I was going to say there. What I meant to say is it's wide open and helpful, and it can be about anything that you need in your life. So it's just really, it's a good resource to have and to fall back on if you're needing guidance or clarity or, you know, another look at things going on in your life. It's just a really nice process to explore every aspect of life, any aspect of life you want. So check that out for sure. And of course, in the shop, you can find all kinds of ways to support me, including my Orgonite jewelry that I make and my Orgonite plaque art that I make. This is Orgonite energy accumulators that you can wear, or you can hang on your wall, or you can do whatever you like with. There's classes that I teach if you are looking to learn about especially spirituality, and you can purchase a tarot reading here. And then of course there's Rogue gear that you can purchase to own. You can support me on Subscribestar. I appreciate it so much. As always, is the dollar level or higher. Any support is appreciated. You know, it costs money to do this show, and I put a lot of time and effort into it. And so if you find value here, I really appreciate when you share that value back. Whether you find a way to support me in the shop or on the site, or donate to PayPal, or subscribe monthly to Subscribestar. Subscribestar is the only place where you can get the audiobook of Sine Curve of Aeons so far. That will change someday, and it will be available on a broader scale, but for now it's still only available here. So if you like to listen instead of read, that's the way that you do it. You got to subscribe at the $7 tier or higher to get that, and then there's different perks to different levels, including a personal tarot reading involved at the $22 and $55 levels. So check those things out for sure if you are looking to support me in some way and would like extra perks back. And finally, the huge announcement that I want to share with you that I've been waiting for years, really, that this has been in the works, is the sequel to Sine Curve of Aeons is finally out. It is such a fucking awesome book. I'm so happy with it. I like it way more than Sine Curve. Sine Curve is a rad book. Like, I love Sine Curve so much. It's my baby. It's my first novel. You know, I had my memoir before that, my poetry before that, but my first novel, it was a really big deal. But Earth is even better. So this is a sequel to Sine Curve. It's actually, the Sine Curve is the name of the trilogy, Sine Curve of Aeons. And so this is book 2 in the Sine Curve trilogy. And it's called Earth, A Trough in Time. So you can imagine, if you know anything about the series, if you've read Sine Curve, that Sine Curve actually takes place in the Golden Age on Earth, and Earth takes place now in the Dark Age. And so it's a lot more relatable in that way. You know, Sine Curve is rad, and like, I love it. I recommend it. People who read it love it. You know, especially if you're into any kind of like sci-fi or fantasy type genre. It's really not traditional to either of those genres, but it's got those vibes going on. But Earth is just really, it's just fucking rad. It's a fucking rad story. I can't I can't get enough of it. When I edit my own books, which is what I do, I end up reading them. You know, I've read Sine Curve probably like 15 times just by editing it and writing it alone. But when I edited Earth, I've only read it like 3 times, and I kind of want to read it again. I'm super nerdy like that. And it's weird because you're probably like, wow, you're really obsessed with yourself. But it's not like that. What it's like is that, if you've heard me talk about this before, when I write these books, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I genuinely don't know the story. I don't know the characters all that well, and I don't know what they're going to do or how things are going to come together. Like, I don't do plot maps. I don't do any of that shit. What I do is I get this idea in my head. I get these images in my head, and I start writing them down, and I start, you know, there's a bit of it that's me like, well, I guess this kind of stuff has to happen, or this sort of thing must happen in order to get to this next set of images I have in my head. But I don't actually know. And so as I'm writing, I'm learning the story as I go. And so it's an incredibly fun way to write. I don't think that, I've never heard at least other writers really talk about it that way. So I don't know what other people's processes are like. But for me, it's super exciting to write, because as I'm writing, I'm like, I'm just like you. I'm reading it like I have no idea what's going to happen next. And it's just as new and exciting to me as it would be to you if you were reading it. And so, you know, just like you also, if you're reading it, sometimes I'm like, what the fuck, character? Like, why are you doing this shit? Like, the fuck? And I'm like angry at people, or disappointed in them, or really pissed off that things happen certain ways or whatever. So it's that's why I would read it again, because I still even having written it and edited it, am like not super familiar with the story. I reread it, parts of it, and I'm like, oh yeah, shit, that's crazy how that happened. So anyway, that's my weird experience of writing fictional novels, especially these ones. So if you heard the story of Sine Curve, you kind of know how this whole thing started, and it has its own crazy synchronicities and just very strange occurrences in the unfolding of me writing the book. So they definitely came from somewhere to me, and then I birthed them into this realm, and I feel honored to have done that. And again, they're super, super rad stories. If you like reading fiction and you like all the things that we talk about on Rogue Ways and in these sort of circles of alternative thinkers, then you will absolutely love reading this book. The really exciting thing is I made it free for anybody. I can't make the paperback free because I don't own Amazon and I can't make them do that, but they will let me make the Kindle copy free for a time. So for 5 days, the Kindle copy is free to anybody. I don't even know if you have to have a Kindle. I really don't. You'll have to go check it out. Like, I think you might have to, but people with Kindles know better than me. I don't have one. I just have an e-reader, and I just get PDFs and read books for free. So sorry if you don't have a Kindle. I am going to have my own paperbacks that I will sign, write an inscription to you, and mail to you anywhere in the United States soon. I think I can get away with selling those for $15. They're $22.22. You can see here in Amazon, and that's just so I make like $2. Like they force you at a minimum to sell it for $20. So I'm making $2.22 off every, minus taxes or whatever else they have to take out of it. It's really, I make almost nothing. When I get my own paperback copies, I can get them for much cheaper, and I can, like I said, sign them and mail them to you. And I'll still only make probably $4, but a little bit more. And then also you get an inscription. So that's going to happen in a couple weeks. It takes them a while to get printing and shipping them out. But that's coming. But for now, it's free. And so what I really, really want you all to do is to go get this for free right now and read it for free. And I would love it if you do read it, if you leave reviews, because that's one of the ways that people start to trust a book and start to grab it, is if they see other people have reviewed it and liked it. So please do that if you are someone who's going to read it. And I will be doing an audiobook for this as well, but it will be, of course, it'll take a while. I literally just finished this part of the project. The book itself is done, so it's going to take me a minute to record and do the audiobook, but hopefully by the end of September. That's the goal, right? To get it done by then. I'm going to check in with the chat really quick before I tell you another fun story about the writing of Earth, A Trough in Time. I'm going to go back and check and see what you guys are saying. Jason French, live. Yes, nice to see you here. Oh, Kelly, I'm so sorry you weren't able to be there. That is so sad. I'm glad, though, however, that... Oh, you're in Cali, not her. I was going to say, I'm glad you're not in Cali, but you are in Cali. So I'm sorry that you're in Cali. It seems to be on fire right now. And it makes me really angry too. The lockdown, people birthing and people dying is like the worst. It's the worst right now. I can't believe what we're doing to people. John Jacob is in the house. What's up, John Jacob? Oh, it's so fun when plots surprise. Not just plots, but every single aspect of the novel surprised me. There's very little of it that I understood ahead of time when I was writing it. What's up, the Great American Fallout? Nice to see you here tonight. We've got... Yeah, California is really drowning in seas of fires started by protesters, started by lightning, and political fires and economic fires. And I'm sorry, I just got home, so I'm just thirsty, and I'm going to be drinking coconut water off and on throughout this, so... Anyway, writing Earth, A Trough in Time, which Johnny pointed out is actually, if the acronym for that is EAT IT, Earth, A Trough in Time, so which is kind of funny. And that was unintentional, but it is really funny. Anyway, Earth, A Trough in Time, you guys may remember I talked about it a few months ago when I finished the I guess we could call it the manuscript. The first draft, basically, I had finished. And when I'm typing the first draft, it's, standard. Anybody opens up like Word or LibreOffice is what I use. And your paper is usually 8x11 and it's like 12 font and whatever. And so whatever format that was, when I was done, it was 33 chapters long, which is something that I don't plan. Again, this happens, this all just unfolds as I'm writing. So when I'm done with it, I'm as surprised as anybody else that it's 33 chapters long. And that it was 333 pages. And there was another 33 about it that I can't remember. I would have to go back and watch the episode where I talked about that to remember what it was. But it was like, what the fuck? Of course, because Sine Curve was 33 chapters long. And that alone, I was like, wow, people are going to think I'm in the Illuminati now or whatever the fuck, which I'm not. It's just a thing that happens. And, repeating numbers are fun and cool. As you can see, 2222 is the price I chose, but it's not something I planned. It was just a very stunning occurrence. And of course, once I format it to my 6x9 and, whatever font size and font type that I used for the final manuscript to submit to the book, it's not 333 pages. Of course, it's more like 600, 500, 400 or whatever it is because the font changed and the page size changed. So it's not anymore, but it was still, the real version of it before you have to change it to fit the book was 333 pages and 33 chapters. And it is interesting. So the other thing, which is very interesting, which was that in the first book, Sine Curve, when I was done with it, or close to done with it at least, I was just randomly on the internet somewhere, and I randomly saw this image that struck me because the image seemed to be exactly from my book. And the experience in the book, the moment in the book, is a pretty specific thing that would never, as far as I understand, occur to anyone else ever to think about, write about, or draw. And so seeing someone having had made the art for my book, like without knowing me or knowing the story, like blew my mind. I tried really hard to get a hold of this artist. I was not able to. I'll show you really quickly. Sine Curve of Aeons, this is the artwork that I found. I still would be happy to pay this person for the fact that I use this art. I can't not use the art because it's so exactly perfect. And if you've read the book, you know exactly why that is such a perfect, amazingly crazy image to find right when I finished that book. And it blew my mind. I was just like, how is this reality? How did I write a book with this thing, this moment in it, and then some other artist created this art, right? That blew my mind. Well, in Earth, A Trough in Time, I also had an experience where I found artwork that was very similar. It's not this artwork that I used for the cover because it was too simple for that, but the concept of it is incorporated in this, and this is actually done by Johnny Larson, who is my boyfriend, the creator of the music you hear at the beginning and end of every episode of Rogue Ways, and you've probably seen some of his artwork behind me in various times throughout the show. So he actually made this cover for me. He's a very talented, awesome dude who does great work. But the artwork that I found the day that I finished the book, after I found out that it was 333 pages long and 33 chapters, was these two symbols that are sacred geometry. But as far as I had understood before my book in the book, they're combined in a way that's very significant that you will learn of if you read the book. And again, it was this thing where, like, that's the first time I've ever even considered these two symbols being overlaid or connected in any way. I've never seen it anywhere. I've never heard of it. It's just not a thing at all. And as soon as I get done writing it, literally that night, I'm on Facebook maybe 5 minutes later scrolling, and I see those two pieces of sacred geometry overlaid over each other by a geometer who I love, who just so happened to have overlaid them. And it blew my fucking mind again. And I'm like, what is this thing that I write, these books that come from somewhere to me that I birth into being? And as soon as I finish them, I find these artists who have made the exact same concept on their own, independent and no connection at all. And I don't know what it is, except that I think it's like an idea whose time has come, right? Or like a collective unconscious sort of awareness of this thing. And I think symbols and geometry have this sort of, they're sort of like the underlying structure of this place that we're in. And so there's just something to that we're picking up on, and that I picked up on, and that this artist picked up on. Sorry, geometer, artist, mathematician. He's an artist of a mathematician, really. So, and you guys may know him. I really want him to be on the show. His name is, Robert something. If I scroll through my Instagram, I'll find him because he posts a lot. He's super rad. I'll try to figure it out while I'm talking. But anyway, so that was cool. Here he is. Nope, that's not him either. Super cool geometer guy. But yeah, he did these two symbols overlaying each other. And I'm like, so is this actually like a thing? And I searched for it on like Google Images and I couldn't find it anywhere but his page. And I was like, what the hell? But now since then, I see it like all the time. All the time. I see it all. Not all the time. I shouldn't say that. But if I search for the image now, I can see it. So it's like it was created, that concept of them being united. Anyway, I'm very honored to have had these experiences and to have this sort of, these ideas come to me and through me to you and to anybody who wants to enjoy them. So again, the book is free right now. I've never given a book away for free, but it is free right now on Kindle Unlimited, I guess. If you don't have that, again, I'm sorry. Soon I will be able to share it with you in other ways, but that's what's true now. I really, really would love, especially because I'm blocked from Facebook right now, which is my main way of interacting with the public besides this here with you guys. I would love it if you would share this with everyone you know. There's nothing super like weird or that would like out you as a conspiracy theorist or something from doing this. This is just a very fun fictional novel. So if you would do that, I would be forever in your debt. I would love to offer you something in return, but again, I have no way of knowing who does it or doesn't do it. So I can't like enter you to win anything because I can't keep track of it all. So because I'm not on Facebook right now. So if you would just do it out of the kindness of your heart, that would be great. You could just share this exact link from Amazon. You could say, yo, this book is amazing. It's from my friend and it is free right now to Kindle users. You should read it. If you would like to do that, I would love it if you would do that. Randomly, also, I'm going to remind you guys that I have magnets and stickers to hand out and that you will get one or both of those when we do the actual physical book selling that I will be selling to you in, again, like I said, a couple weeks. It's coming your way. It is. So I was very excited because I actually got to mention that I finished the book on the episode with Sam that should air next week on Tinfoil Hat Podcast. It was just good timing. I've seriously been working so much lately on like an actual job, and so writing and getting this finished has not, unfortunately, been the priority. And so I suddenly had this like burst of time to get it done, and it just got done a little bit earlier than I expected. I'm just so happy. So that's the big announcement. I hope you're as excited about it as I am. It's seriously, I wish I could just give you guys all the like physical book for free. I just want everyone to have this book because I'm so excited about it. But anyway, let me chill in with you guys again. Vanguard of Truth was in Trinidad, and people just stare at you if you don't have a mask on outside. Outside Trinidad, Colorado? Or Trinidad where? That's creepy. It's super creepy. I've still been going around without a mask, and I've still been, I guess, lucky to be like in places or people who just don't care. And I'm sure there's some people who care, but like the people who matter seem to just let me go, which has been really nice, luckily. Unless I go up to Denver, and then it seems like it's a bit more strict. But down here, outside of Denver, it seems okay. I was even in Aurora, which is like a suburb of Denver today, and it didn't matter at all. It was pretty cool. So I've been lucky. But yeah, seeing people wearing masks when it's 100 degrees outside, like Vanguard of Truth just said, is like pretty sad and disturbing, especially when they're taking a walk or like riding a bike. And the really disturbing thing that has happened recently is that I've been hearing about people getting staphylococcus infections in their lungs, pulmonary staph infections. Like, that's disgusting. I can't even imagine how disgusting your body has to be in order to develop staph in your lungs, because you're breathing through a nasty piece of like moist, bacteria-filled fucking garbage all day, every day. You're not washing this like 14 times a day and like swapping it out for other masks. And like people who are wearing masks it's disgusting. I'm really sick of also, and this is part of what I was typing about when I got banned from Facebook, I'm sick of people comparing it to surgeons. You know, they're like, well, surgeons wear masks. Like, first of all, they don't. Surgeries aren't often that long. And longer surgeries, they take breaks. And sometimes they even swap out who's doing something so they can, like, take a break. They don't wear their mask for that entire time. There's a totally different type of mask. It's for a totally different purpose. And even if they were to wear it for an extended amount of hours in that day, they're not doing that every single day for that many hours. It's not even the same at all. It's a totally different story. And outside of that, we have really no correlation. We don't have other positions where people have traditionally worn masks for, you know, all day, every day. So now we're seeing what happens. You get staph infections because you have a dirty piece of cloth over your face and you're breathing your air through that all day, every day. Your lungs can't handle that. That wasn't how people were meant to live and survive on Earth, and it's disgusting. They make you ill for sure. Absolutely. Deliberate Creation, what's up? Nice to see you. My Mouth Shall Speak Truth is here. Nice to see you. Love in the Light is here. What's up? What's up? Yeah. Oh, Chris Phoenix is here. I haven't seen you in a while, Chris. Nice to see you. Yeah, exactly. Vanguard of Truth points out it's so they don't sneeze in the open wounds. If you're a surgeon, it's not to protect them from getting sick. It's to keep their like sputum out of an open wound, which is a totally different story than keeping your sputum from like the air in case someone might breathe it while there's still active viral particles inside of it, which would be like pretty rare, honestly. Like we have said all along, like many doctors and scientists have pointed out all along, it's way more likely that you will touch something, present your hand to your mouth, and possibly introduce some sort of vector that way, if you even believe in those types of things, than it is that you would like inhale someone's spit droplets and develop an illness from that. Not that it is totally impossible or whatever, it's just not worth every single human wearing a mask and getting all kinds of, it's not just pulmonary staph infection, which is again so disgusting. Staph infections are so gross, and getting them in your lungs, like you're gonna die at that point. So you're gonna kill yourself on the off chance that possibly you might not get sick from a cold. All right. And also people are getting these like you know, just like outbreaks and like sores around the sort of mask line on their face, which is also disgusting. Like your skin is screaming out to like not have this toxic shit rubbed up all on it every single day. And people are apparently not taking care of their oral hygiene because they feel like no one's gonna have to smell their breath, which is very interesting. I think you should take care of your oral hygiene whether or not you think someone's gonna smell your breath, but that's just me. And yeah, seeing babies with masks on is awful. I'm like, you don't, that kills them. They can't breathe that. It's not recommended. There's nowhere in the world recommending it. In fact, even the stupid lying CDC and all these other places are saying, please don't mask your small children. And still you see idiots doing it. And I don't even know like how, like I want to walk up to them and be like, did you realize you're killing your child? Or you're just like too stupid to fucking have a kid? Like it's crazy. And these are the people who I think would like look down on poor people for having children and thinking that like they're incapable of raising your child correctly or something, you know, those type of people. Like it's always them. It's like it's like the Karens of the world are putting fucking masks on their little children. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Anyways, none of that has anything to do with Earth, a Trough, and Time, except that that level of delusion and distraction that I think is very intentionally inflicted upon our society is highlighted in this novel. Man, I hope you read it. It's super excited. But it's super excited. It's super exciting. I'm super excited about it. So again, it's free right now. So get your free copy on Kindle and tell everybody you can, share it everywhere you can, and help promote it. And thank you so much to those of you who are doing that. I'm super excited about it. But I want to talk about Millennial Millie. And Millennial Millie, oh, so this is the page that's causing problems. Anyway, Millennial Millie, wow, Millennial Millie's page is apparently just not working. Millennial Millie, you may have heard of, has, she's sort of, as far as I understand, an offshoot from like Alex Jones, which automatically makes people not really trust her. You know, if you're sort of like where we tend to be at in the conspiracy realm, where we're like, yeah, that's, you know, controlled opposition and whatever. Yeah, fuck you. We'll see if this can work, but Anyway, so there's that level of sort of like possible distrust going on with her, but you know, she could very easily be connected with Alex Jones and not be sort of bought and paid for by the powers that be. Who knows? She's pretty young, and she could just be honestly this like excited and into it. Either way, this movie she's released, Shadowgate, is a super interesting flick documentary, and if you haven't seen it, it's highly recommended. There's definitely aspects in it where you're like, I didn't really know that. There's definitely a lot of information where I'm like, I would need to like take notes and make like boards with like lines connecting shit to like really have it sink into my brain. And then there's a bunch of shit in it that we're like, well, yeah, like, duh, like, we all know this. This is, like, obvious, but she's showing the evidence that these things are real. And the interesting part to me is this idea, which, again, I feel like I've had for quite a while, which is that, and you probably have too, which is that they're clearly manipulating society on some sort of a level that implies like a mind control, but it's not like the mind control that, you know, they've got like your eyes like spread open like Clockwork Orange and whatever. It's the type of mind control that makes people do shit like this, that makes people fucking riot and burn down their own neighborhoods and act like it's right and good. And you know, it's that type of mind control that's just behavioral influence more than anything else. And she really breaks down the technology that was developed quite a while ago, actually, in order to influence large groups of people, especially groups of idiots who can't see through the manipulation that many of us here do see through, and that's why we are here. It's because we do see through it. But it's interesting. So if you haven't gotten into this yet, you know, it goes into that technology of using like false profiles on social media and planting certain images or keywords or phrases and having sort of people who, you know, kind of like the idea of the paid troll farm. Only it's like AI is utilized in it. And so these are just sort of like at the click of a button, you can like unleash this message for this group of people and keep that influence going over time. And the level of manipulation is pretty stunning, especially when you think about how few people would even imagine that this is happening at all. You know, but again, for us, we're like, well, duh, like that's been happening. Yes, obviously. But again, it's just nice to have somebody sort of lay it all out and have these few whistleblowers who are in here that she interviews throughout the movie who have specifically worked to create these networks and this technology and have utilized it and understand how it works. And they can kind of break down all the ins and outs of it. And so again, I think especially for like the normie level of mind, this is a really good movie that can kind of show you how far beyond our reckoning things have gone. And at the same time, like I said, it's so many details, so much information, like so many people and the days and places they were and who they talked to and why and like what the what the sort of thing is. What I love the most is the ending, because she just fucking goes for it. I don't know. I think I might just like ruin it for you if you haven't watched it, because at the end she basically talks about how the real end goal is this sort of globalized complete AI takeover and roboticization of our society. She goes into the whole defunding the police thing and how they want to make, you know, robotic police, and they already have been. We saw even with COVID that we've got these drones that are like, you know, citizen, go inside, cover your face, you fucking dog, and shit like that. They don't say that, but you know what I mean. We've seen that shit. We see it rolling out more and more, especially in Asia with those robotic dogs and like the stupid shit, which again is all old news. If you've been following any of this for any amount of time, you're like, yeah, of course they're roboticizing everything and making policing more and more automated and based on AI technologies. But again, it's pretty cool how she lays it all out and weaves it all together. Super, really well done. I mean, I know she's well supported and clearly possibly funded and possibly by sources that we wouldn't trust as much. And at the same time, a lot of this is like, this is real information, real things going on. So you might want to take it as like, why would they sort of like let this out? Why would we have such a well-made movie that shows this, that's going to have a pretty wide reach based on her network she's attached to? Like, why would they, what's the possible angle of manipulation there? Like, why do they want us to feel like this is what's happening, etc.? But at the same time, I'm like, nah, but that's all actually happening too. So like, it's really similar to the whole, shoot, what was that other movie, you guys, that just came out not that long ago that was about like pedophilia, and it also was really big and everybody heard about it and was watching it. It was reaching the normies as well. Somebody in the chat's gonna remember what I'm talking about. But it's sort of like that, where I'm like, okay, well, like, why now? And like, who funded this? And why is it actually getting traction? Because we know, especially based on the technologies in this that she lays out in this film, that they can stop it. Just like they can plant these ideas and these influences, these fake influences, and make people feel like a certain idea is winning or is true or is whatever, and influencing people to act and believe in certain ways. They can also do the opposite, and they can also stop ideas from happening and from flowing and from being effective, in my opinion. And so, you do kind of want to ask why, but I want to see if anybody told me the name. Out of Shadows. Thank you, Vanguard of Truth. Yes, good timing. Out of Shadows was it. And it was the same sort of thing where I was like, well, even if there is something nefarious behind this, or there's something where it's like the limited hangout where they're like, yeah, totally, there's some bullshit, but like, don't look at like the even worse shit. Like, who knows what level is being played. At the same time, I'm glad that people are thinking about it. I'm glad that it's out in the open, and I'm glad that people are learning about it. And so I try not to be completely jaded and just treat everything like it's worthless garbage because it might, because it's all controlled and couldn't possibly be a single good thing that ever gets through the network or whatever. I don't want to be like that. I want to consider that this actually is just a possibly, well done documentary by an honest person who wants the world to know about these operations that happen. This is military grade weaponry, as they point out over and over again in the film, that is being unleashed on an unknowing populace, which is the world, the entire world. There's nowhere that's not using this, we can assume. And especially in the United States, it's definitely being used on a sort of hyper-inflated mega level, down to like the tiniest groups of people, like our group, Fear and Eyes Open. I'm sure we're targeted. We know that. We've seen it for a while in various ways, and to the largest group, like I don't know, Christians or like Democrats or something, really, really big groups. Anything in between. So anyway, sorry, my coconut milk has or my coconut water has pulp in it, so hopefully that's not disgusting to see. But yeah, it's good. I liked it a lot. I barely have time to watch things, and I watched the whole thing with interest and enjoyed it. So if you have your criticisms of it and your ideas of why it maybe like sucks or is something we should be really wary of, and maybe we should be, I think we should all be open-minded to that possibility as well. Let me know. I would love to hear that idea. Let me check in with the chat. What's up? We've got Gordon Hamill in the house. Nice to see you. Yes, what you missed, Gordon, is that I've just released my book, Earth, A Trough in Time, which is an awesome fictional novel about the dark age that we are in today and how fucked up it is and how evil it is. And maybe how some good can be gotten out of it anyway. That's what you missed. Digital Apparitions in the house. That guy's sexy. What's up, Mateo? Nice to see you. Whoa. What are you guys talking about? Love in the Light said something that is about microchipping kids. Oh. Love in the Light was saying, I fear that masks will convince people to chip their kids. Dude, I fear that, masks basically are the precursor to the vaccines, and the vaccines seem like they are going to be connected with tracking. We've been prepped for that too, right? Through the whatever contact tracing, which I haven't seen any hint of in real life. I've just heard them talk about it, but the idea that we will be tracked, we've seen it on our phones. We've seen, apparently if you go into your Google settings, on your browser or whatever, if you're in Gmail and you just go to the, regular Google Suite settings, I guess, there's somewhere in there where you can turn off like COVID tracking or something. I don't know. I couldn't find it in mine, but I saw someone else's screenshot that showed it. So that's that level of tracking we've been sort of introduced to. And I feel like we've also been introduced to the idea that these vaccines are going to come along with their own sort of tracking, whether there's a chip in the actual serum that's injected into you or whether just the dose is tracked, and but either way the concept is there, and so I feel like that's at least a part of it. And I don't know if that connects with what you guys were talking about, but what's up, Jeff, in the chat? Yes, good point, Jeff. That is one major criticism of this movie. It does definitely point to Trump as the savior, and if you know me, you know that I am very, very wary and dubious of that ideology. There's an episode of Rogue Ways called Trump's Trinity, and I go through the very devious, very clever ways in which Trump is presented as the savior in multiple ways to multiple groups of people. And how, again, very, very devious that is. So I agree, that is a major criticism, and thank you for reminding me, because I just sort of like cut all that shit out. I'm like, yeah, whatever, like get back to the point. But she definitely is a Trump lover, and she definitely, I think it seems pretty obvious, she believes that Trump is not connected with all this deep, dark, shadow web usage and manipulation of society, which is interesting, and it's possible. It is totally possible he's not. And I was thinking this last night as I was watching this. But even if he's not, hear me out, even if he's not connected to this shadow net and the workings of it, he is connected at some like magical demonic level to the exact same type of thing. It just maybe doesn't have that technological structure to it, right? But the whole Keck meme magic shit, like that's the same exact shit. And honestly, it's more likely that that is what she's talking about, this IA or whatever, I don't know, the ShadowNet technology. It's most likely what the Keck and the meme magic stuff even came from. Anyways, I'm just saying, if he's not connected in reality to this, then he still is connected to some level of it through other technological means, technology that we call magic. That's what I have to say about that. But thank you so much, Jeff, for reminding me of that. What's up, Eccentric? Oh no, Gordon, save the food. Don't let us distract you from eating. It does feed into some of the Q stuff. There really wasn't any Q stuff in there, but the Q stuff also feeds into the Trump as savior thing. So they're definitely connected in that ideology. Here you are, Chris. Not making ice cream, just watching Rogue Ways. Vanguard of Truth points out this not Out of Shadows, that one too. This, what is this? Is it just called Shadowgate? Shadowgate movie does sort of drown out what people really need to know or think about and points them back to a sort of safer route, which is that belief that like Trump is going to save us all and that everything's good. That's a really good point too. And that's the point of these controlled opposition things and these limited hangout sort of things, right? Is that we give you like, here's a little bit, this is actually what's happening, but don't look over here, look over there. And it works really well. So that's a good reason to criticize as well. Yeah, and Jeff makes a good point as well. It's like the Snowden thing. People just get used to the idea and then just keep going. This is sort of desensitizing us to the idea that like everything you're doing is being controlled and monitored, or we already knew the monitored part, but being controlled, being influenced in these ways that are really subtle and really effective. And yeah, that's what's interesting. Hell is Watching points out the job of Alex Jones is to make the truth seem ridiculous. It's absolutely true in my experience, my opinion, but this movie does not make any of this seem ridiculous. It makes it seem entirely plausible and real. It makes it seem very well thought out, very well researched, and very well documented. And so it's almost the opposite of Alex Jones. But like we said, that does not mean that there's not nefarious things going on, distractions going on, or that, like we were just saying, funneling you into like, yeah, this is all real, but also look over here. Channeling you in the right direction, right according to them. But yeah, Love in the Light, I think it's worth checking out. That's why I checked it out, right? I'm like, I want to know what's going on. Everybody's talking about this movie and this girl getting arrested because allegedly she was arrested, and people were like, the deep state's trying to take her out. But I'm pretty sure, and we'll look in a second, but I'm pretty sure she was arrested because she stole her mom's purse or something. Like, I don't think it has anything to do with this movie. Not to say that they're not censoring it. And again, the censoring of it in itself is definitely part of the game. I don't know if you guys know the Barbra Streisand effect, but way back in the early days of the internet, Barbra Streisand learned that as soon as you try to censor something, in this case, like a picture of her, something that she didn't find flattering, or I don't really remember, as soon as she asked to be taken down, and various sites complied with that request, then a billion other people threw it right back up. So it actually multiplied it and drew more attention to it. And so they know this, They know this dynamic is at play. And so them censoring things, as we all saw, way more people went and looked at Alex Jones when Alex Jones got censored. Way more people are going to watch this movie because it allegedly is being censored, even though you can see it right here and it's not taken down. And we found copies really easily and watched it. So it's really not that censored. But, you know, that Plandemic movie, on the other hand, I still haven't seen the final, but that little clip at least of Judy Mikovits, that part, that did seem to be censored really well, actually. So they can do it if they want, or they can play the censorship game in a way that kind of increases the focus on what they're looking at. But yes, what's up, Drunken Fool? Nice to see you. Yeah, totally not partisan. No, it's interesting. There's actually aspects of this film that really aren't partisan, right? And so maybe you weren't saying that in a joking way, and I'm sorry if I mistook you, but there are. She definitely maligns and impugns Democrats and Republicans in this equally. They're both very much targeted as like, these are the people pulling the strings in this very negative, deceitful way. It is partisan in the sense that she then is like, well, go Trump, because Trump is the sort of maverick who like went around it all or whatever. So there's kind of both aspects are in there for sure. Biggie Smollett says Millie's mom had her arrested. She's a never Trumper. Interesting. So you think she made it up? She made up the purse stealing or whatever that incident supposedly was. Jeff speaking in code here. We get it, Jeff. We know what you mean. No More News lays out all her ties to some certain sect of individuals that we would all recognize as being possibly... Oh, Lindsay Smith has such an excellent question. Thank you for asking. So Lindsay Smith asked, which of these books should she read first? Because this is a trilogy in Sine Curve of Aeons. Sorry, I'm jumping back to this, but this is just such a great question. I meant to address it. I'm so glad you asked. Earth, A Trough in Time is the sequel to Sine Curve of Aeons, Phi'Telas, but genuinely, 100%, you can read them in any order. And I wonder if this is going to be unique in any trilogy ever written, because when I write the third book, it will also be true that you could start and read any of the books in any order. It's awesome. I'm so excited to write the third book. I'm going to start on it as soon as I get the audiobook for this recorded and done. But yes, great question. You can read Earth, A Trough in Time first. You can read Sine Curve of Aeons first. You can do anything you want in any order. And it'll be awesome how it ties together no matter what order you read it in. So super cool. Thank you for asking that rad question. I love it. It's like one of the most exciting aspects of this trilogy for me, because I've personally never heard of somebody doing that before. And I, again, didn't plan it because I didn't even know what the first book was going to be, let alone the second or the third. But it's like turned out that way, and it's fucking rad. It's so cool. Good question. Yeah, you know what's cool? Love in the Light says #save the children. And we were driving down the freeway today, and on one of the passes, somebody did that thing where you put like red cups in the like chain link fence, you know, and you can spell things out. And they spelled out #save the children. And I was like, cool, that's a nice move, because I think people associate that red cup in the cross chain link fence thing with like schools and like youth organizations. So not only are you like save the children in this way that like associates you with that idea, but I also think no one's going to take it down because they're going to assume it was put up by like a school function or something. It was such a cool move. I think we should all do it. It's really cool. But yeah, eccentric. Again, I jump around a lot because I like to interact with you guys in the chat, and so that's just how it goes. But Eccentric says, I'm scared the vaccine is going to be mandatory. In Australia right now, they've announced that it is mandatory, and I'm sure that's coming our way. And saying I'm sure that's coming our way, I'm like, really hope that the future we create together is not that, but it seems very likely that enough people are being cowed and sort of going along with the agenda that it might be. And so it's very likely it's coming our way, I think. And I asked my friend Kathy, if you're out there, what's up? I asked Kathy, hey, this is all mandatory in Australia now. What are you going to do? She lives down there. And she was like, I mean, they can fucking try and make me, but good luck. And I think we kind of have to have that attitude of like, I'm not going to consent to this and I'm not going to go along with it no matter what. I don't consent to any sort of punishment or reaction from that choice either. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to keep living my life exactly as I live it without a vaccine in me. So I don't want to be scared that it's mandatory. I just want to know that it might be, and I want to know that my choice has already been made, and therefore I'm at peace, and nobody can change it for me, and that's grad. So awesome. The Drunken Fool has seen Out of Shadows now due to this podcast. Rad. Good. We like to learn here. We like to learn and share information and knowledge with each other. So let's, we can dip into things like Out of Shadows and Shadowgate here and do it knowing all the various traps that could be laid for us within this film and knowing that we are still capable of watching it, analyzing it, thinking about it critically, and coming out the other side without having been fooled or caught in a trap. So I think that's cool. Peace out, Vanguard of Truth. I hope that toothache goes away for your 4-year-old. Drunken Fool says, what I want to know is when they get rid of money and go all plastic and digital, will they then be providing the opiates to the workers? Yeah, probably in the form of alcohol, honestly, which is like the worst. I mean, opiates are bad too. But my guess is they're going to go cheap and give people alcohol. That's the nightmare I had. So hopefully that vision doesn't come true. But yeah, like the Brave New World. Exactly. Good call, Eccentric. Got to keep us high. Got to give us our religious experiences. Got to keep us engaged in some sort of production. That's true. That's true. The Republicans and the Democrats all work for the same Crown Corporation. Or even if you don't think of it that way, you could think of it as like the elites ruling the world. They've got them all in their pocket. Not sure what that means. What's up, BM? Nice to see you. BM says Millie made Roger Stone upset. There's a Roger Stone interview with one of the woman that she interviews in this movie, whose like name I already forgot. She seems really cool. I would love to have her on Rogue Ways. That would be cool. Maybe we can get that to happen. But I wonder how she made Roger Stone upset. Jones couldn't have that, BM says. John Birch Society Code. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not in it enough to understand if that's true or not. That'd be so hilarious. Drunken Fool says that the DNC tonight, Creepy Joe announces he is Q. Oh, snap. And BM says Joe can't even spell Q. Huh. He seriously can't. I heard that when he accepted the nomination, he didn't even know where he was, which I wouldn't doubt, but is probably just a joke. But also, he's so unstable. It's scary. It's true. That's true. I think you're talking about Tang, Eccentric. Oh, never mind. Drunken Fool is. Never mind. I don't know what you're talking about. If you're asking of what the movie's called that I'm talking about, it's called Shadowgate, and you can literally watch it right here on millennialmillie.com, I think. I'll post it here in case that's true. If not, you can definitely pirate it in many places, and you could probably already find it on the Internet Archive, which is the internetarchive.org, or maybe it's just archive.org. I think it's just archive.org. Let's find out together. Archive.org. Yeah. And let's see if it's up here. Not in the Wayback Machine, but here, Shadowgate. I think it's 2 words, right? Yeah. It's not here yet. That's very unlikely. Let's see. Let's narrow it down to just movies. No, wow, it's really not here yet. That's very rare that the Internet Archive doesn't have things this quickly, but I highly suggest that somebody upload that here quickly, because this will be the one place you can always find it, just like you can still find copies of those other movies that have been suppressed, including questioners of that major event in World War II. Those are also here. Many things are here. Internet Archive is one of the best resources in the world. Anyway, that's Shadowgate. That's where you can find it, I believe. I'm not sure. Sometimes I think I miss parts of the chat, and so I don't understand what you guys are saying. So if you want me to say or to like talk to you about something that I didn't, it's because I didn't really understand it. Maybe if you type it again, I will. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, you can watch it in many places and it's good. And if you do find a copy of it, I would suggest that you then provide it to other people in whatever way you can. Upload it to Drive, which they'll delete because they do that now, which is fucked up. Upload it to Dropbox, give people the link, do whatever you can. Just because, again, even if you have your doubts and your questions, it's still worth letting people see. It's just like, anything. You shouldn't censor shit. You should let people make up their own minds and evaluate it themselves. But Restream has now told me 15 times that I've reached 100 chats in the chat. They told me that within 25 seconds of starting the stream, so I don't know what's going on with that tonight. What the hell? are you serious? Just said, I was forced to take a very early version of the vax. I don't know if you're talking about the COVID vax or what. And how are you forced to? What are you talking about? And says, my left hand is probably triple the size of my right, like a tennis racket size. That's fucked up. These are one of the many adverse reactions that people just pass off. Like, oh yeah, your whole fucking hand swells up. It's like totally normal. It's crazy. Ugh. Yeah, both 1984 and Brave New World have the opiate for the masses, right? In Brave New World, it's the soma. They take the pills. They have the gas that they spray people with if they don't take their pills or whatever. And they have the drinks, and they have all these different forms of soma. And it's kind of slightly hallucinogenic and very calming, which is interesting. And then in 1984, they've got their victory gin. And they're all getting like nasty gin. It's described as like oily. And it's like that shit you'd buy in like the plastic like buckets. That level of gin, and they're always drinking that. Stay drunk, be distracted, don't look at the truth. Yeah, the Drunken Fool says, I saw the Alex Jones Bohemian Grove documentary when it was new. I didn't believe it then, but after WikiLeaks, DNC leaks, how can you not believe it? Yeah, Bohemian Grove seems pretty fucking true. I mean, there's a giant statue of the owl, right? And there's all these, like, stories, and he had that film, and that's when, at the very least, Alex Jones seemed less co-opted and owned, and maybe he was, like, very pure then, and this was, like, actually, his level of investigative journalism was, cool and whatever, and now he's obviously a pretty different story. But I like to keep in mind that, like, you don't have to discard all of somebody's work just because at some point they did sort of turn or change. And especially because, if you are somebody who wants to control somebody and you're thinking about how do you control somebody well, if you're like, hey, we're gonna fucking kill your kids or you do this, and it's like, well, what would you do? You'd probably do the thing, right? Even if you didn't want to. And so it's very possible that some of these people were pure and had true intentions, and then at some point they got caught, distracted, or got tapped on the shoulder, so to speak, and sort of turned because of what was at stake. And I even wonder that about Bernie Sanders. He was never perfect, but I feel like he had kind of more integrity for a minute, and that now he definitely doesn't have any. And so I just wonder if they sort of got to him too. There was that time where he showed up with the bruise on his left eye, which is a common occurrence. And then after that, he just sang a totally different tune, like completely different. And so I just wonder, they got to him somehow. And I think that that is something that could be true. Could be true of Alex Jones, could be true of Joe Rogan, could be true of a lot of people that we like to shit on and call shills and forget that like they're people too, and there might be reasons why they're doing what they're doing that aren't as evil as we might imagine. So, not making excuses for these people, I'm just saying like you got to consider these things, I think, if you want to be fair. Yeah. Staph infections in your lungs. That's what's happening now. Pulmonary staph infection. That's apparently a thing that can happen because you wear a fucking mask. So here's a Fox News article about Millie getting arrested. Millie the millennial. Millie Weaver. The far-right conspiracy theory outlet InfoWars. Arrested at home on charges of robbery and domestic violence of her mother. So like Brett said earlier, it's probably, could very likely be true that her mother, especially if she's a never Trumper, orange man, bad Trump derangement person, was just like, dude, I have to stop this from happening, and just accused her of something to get her arrested. Who knows? They say that Weaver and her 45-year-old boyfriend. What? She does not look very old. She's 29. She has a 45-year-old boyfriend. That's interesting. I mean, I don't want to judge people. That just shocked me. I didn't expect it. I didn't even know she was 29. I kind of thought she was like 24 or something, but same. Los Angeles Jewish Film Festival. Interesting. That's all I'm going to say about that. She live streamed a portion of her arrest. Oh, is that this? Let's see. I'll turn on the volume so you guys can perhaps hear this.
Break.
You're saying a grand jury indicted me? For what?
We're going to have 221s out here. We have room to transport one. Can you send us a car, please? 9107 Yale Road. Okay. I will give you all your paperwork when we get to the jail. Right now, I need you to get some shoes.
Okay.
Because we need to get moving.
Okay.
We need to get this taken care of.
Well, this time you're not getting ever back.
Okay.
No.
Guys, I don't know what's happening right now. The police have just showed up at my house, and they said that they're arresting me. They said that a grand jury indicted me for something. I have no idea what. This is crazy. Where's my shoe? I have one shoe here. Okay.
And one shoe there. Okay. So we're good.
So why wasn't I given anything in the mail? Like, I have no idea what this is talking about.
Yeah, Billy.
Guys, I'm literally about to break huge breaking news right now, and I'm being arrested, and I have no idea why.
About this case?
Burglary? Yeah. For what? They're not even saying. They're saying
Okay.
we're being charged
Okay.
with
Now,
burglary?
is this from the grand jury or are these green sheets?
Grand jury?
Are these green sheets or are they is this an indictment?
Get your baby
Okay, very good. Okay.
This is my son right now.
All right.
Buddy,
Come on, let's go. To the car.
Poor baby.
I've been more than nice. To the car.
I don't understand what's happening right now. Like, please share this.
It could be a Blair Witch marketing ploy. That is a really good point. Digital apparition with a good point. It could be just a stunt. She could be like, Mom, have me arrested so that I can get way more attention for this. Very good point. So yeah, maybe her mom actually is that awful. Maybe she actually is. Maybe she's awful. Maybe she attacked her mom and like broke her shit and just like, I don't know. I feel bad for her kid though, because it sucks to see her mom get arrested no matter what's going on. So poor kid. Let's see. And then it still got released even though she got arrested. So, and I do think it definitely helped because the first thing I heard about it days ago, whenever this happened, the 15th, I guess, or so, was like, oh, there's this huge movie and it's all about like all this shit that nobody has ever heard about, and it's great, and then she got arrested, they're trying to stop it and suppress it, which makes you want to watch it more, for sure. Like, just like we were saying, they use censorship against us because they know what they take away from us we want to get back. So it definitely works. Like, note to self, pretend to be censored. Just joking. I'm not that deceitful. That would be fun, though. They're trying to censor the book, guys. Get it quick. No. But seriously, go get it for free on Kindle. But yeah. Jones has talked for decades about his family reunions are 50% CIA. I do not doubt it. And then someone was saying earlier that Bill Cooper strongly warned against Alex Jones. But yeah, the kid made Shadowgate. The fight with the mom happened in April. The warrant is dated the 22nd of July, and she was arrested on the 14th. Interesting. I mean, that could just be actually what happened, though. It could be like completely unrelated and an accident too, because of COVID and how slowly everything might be moving, you know, especially for things like this that are not like that important. It's like, oh, you stole your mom's phone. Like, who gives a shit? So I don't know, but any whoozy what's-its, those were just the things that I wanted to talk about tonight and get your guys' perspective on and share with you. Again, the movie, I think, is a cool movie. It's got stuff in it that I had not understood before. And again, like I said, it's like we all know they're like controlling society. They're making people riot somehow. Like, is it 5G? Is it this? And it's probably a mixture of very many things. Locking people down so they're angsty, taking away their money so they're like fearful, hitting them with 5G radiation to make them like even more exacerbate those emotions and feelings, and then also have all of this psyop, shadow net sort of operatives and operations going on to influence people to do all these things that they're getting people to do, which are insane. Like wear masks. We were talking about it when we were watching it, Johnny and I, and we were saying, you know, this technology is exactly why they can, within one day, I don't know if you guys remember this, but within one day, all of a sudden, I went from never having heard the term social distancing to hearing it like 18 times. And that is exactly what this technology is doing. You know, in one day, I went from never having considered wearing a mask or anyone else wearing a mask to protect themselves or other people, you know, like really never, to suddenly like knowing that this is what like people were going to have to do in one day. You know, just by being connected to a few networks of social media and being on them like a few times in the day. That's crazy. And the news, of course, is like repeating it and all these things. That's the influence that this sort of technology has, is, you know, enough influence to make you suddenly run to the store and buy as much toilet paper as you can buy. Just for fucking no reason at all. It makes no sense. It has no connection to reality, but like you're going to go do it because all of a sudden you're being bombarded with these messages, subtle and overt, on various different platforms in various different ways. So it's a profound technology, and again, seeing it, understanding that it's happening, but not really necessarily understanding like exactly how they're doing it. Like this movie is at least good for that. Again, to sort of like back off like the Donald Trump part, like you can do that. You can watch this movie and just know for yourself, like, yeah, whatever, this girl likes Donald Trump, like who cares? It's really not that strong, as far as I'm concerned, at least. It wasn't that strong of a narrative that I like couldn't watch the movie and just get past it. You know, and to see through some of that, it's anything we watch. You should be questioning me while you're watching me, right? You should be always thinking critically and kind of comparing it to your previous experiences and knowledge. And so you're going to do that if you watch this or when you watch this as well. And at the same time, I don't think you have to watch this because I think you probably already understand all the things that I've said and that you've experienced, and you don't necessarily need all those details to back it up because you already know. But it's just a kind of a question of whether you want those details and to see like really how it kind of works, or if you just want to like know, like, yeah, I already know what's happening, so who cares? That's kind of how I was with the Out of Shadows thing. I was like, I don't think there's going to be anything in there that's new to me, and I really don't need more focus in my mind on these horrible things, so I just like didn't watch it. I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but that's where I'm at. So I feel that way about this movie as well. You know, you can take it or leave it depending on what you want for yourself. But interesting. I don't know if BM, if you're talking about Drunken Fool, if you're talking about Millie or not. But she said she got 5G tower near her house, so I wonder if that's connected in any way. It's interesting. But oh, now I scrolled too far back in the chats and I don't know where you are. Did you miss the huge announcement? The huge announcement, if you missed it, is that my book is finished. Let me just show you one more time because it's awesome. Oops. That was the chat. Earth, A Trough in Time is released. This is the sequel to Sine Curve of Aeons. A great question was asked. Do you have to read it in order? Absolutely not. Go read this book first. This book is so awesome that if you, like, I love Sine Curve again, but I'm like way more into Earth, A Trough in Time. It's just more my style. You know, it's like modern. It's kind of edgier and darker, and it's just more fun. Maybe it's not more fun. It's probably more fun because it's new to me and I just finished it and I'm just so excited about it. So that is the big news, is that this book is done and it is out and you can get it. And even bigger news for you is you can get it for free right now on Kindle. They let me do this promotion for 5 days. You can get it for free. What would be super rad is if you take this and you share it everywhere you can and you tell everyone else that they can get it for free too, and let them know what an awesome book it is. Here, let me read you the description. The Sine Curve of Aeons has brought humanity to the trough of a dark age. An ancient evil accesses the core of human beings through technological travesty and attempts to steal the essence of each and every one of us, which is our souls. In the depths of addiction and insanity, how can hope prevail against traps laid for centuries by demonic forces beyond understanding? There should be a question mark there. Drug-addled Dante only knows he must drag himself out of hell and survive. The rest may be lost forever. It's a really fucking good book. I'll say that again. You can say that again. So that is the big announcement. That is what I had to say. I actually did mention it on the episode with Janice Barcelo the other night, just because it's like literally every single thing that Janice and I talked about, which was all unplanned. We literally were like, should we do a show? Oh, sure, we might talk about consciousness a little. The rest of the show was unplanned and we just talked about whatever came up. And every single thing we brought up, and I had just finished this book that day, I was just like, this is exactly the theme from the book. This also is the theme. And like every time the whole time we were talking, I was like, this is crazy. I'm trying not to like plug this book that I just finished because this should be about like Janice and I talking, you know, but I couldn't help it. Finally, I was like, this is just too crazy. Like literally every single thing we brought up is a major theme or a major event in this book. And so it was just pretty rad, which is how things tend to go for me. So, go check that out here. Why don't I throw this link here for you? And you can go check that out. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I am seriously so, I'm just overwhelmed by this process in this book and these series of books. And they're so much fun to write and they're so much fun to read. And I'm so excited for other people to read them. I have some people, you know, who are like really hardcore fans of the first book, and they've been waiting for literally 5 years for the sequel. And the third one is not going to take that long. I went through a major, chaotic, like super set of massive transitions in my life in between the two books. And so that extended the writing time by a bit, but the next book really should be out within like a year at the most, I would hope. And so you won't have to wait as long for the conclusion to the trilogy, but again, you're going to be able to read them in any order you want. So start with Earth, A Trough in Time, and then when you love it, which you will, then you can go read Sine Curve of Aeons as well. So I'm going to do a few things. I'm going to do this that I'm already doing, where this book is free on Kindle right now, Earth, A Trough in Time. I'm gonna, like I said, be ordering some copies for myself. It's $22.22 on Amazon, which I can't really make it any cheaper than that. That's just what they do. But I can order my own copies for I think about $8 plus shipping, plus then I would ship it to you, which is like another $3. But I think if I price them at $15 a copy, I will still make $1 or $2 or something, or practically nothing, but I'll be able to inscribe it to you and get you copies a little bit cheaper which will be awesome. So if you want the physical book to hold in your hands, which I do, I like reading books that I can actually hold. I have an e-reader for traveling and I love it, but I also I want the actual book. And so if you're like me and you want that, that will be coming too. You can go buy the paper book right now and get that, and it'll be yours. But if you want, the inscription and you want that version, you'll just have to wait a few weeks. Like I said, it takes a while to print it, but that promotion will be going on as well soon. And what I really am excited about is I'm also going to get more copies of Sine Curve. If you've read Sine Curve before, this version of it there's just a few small tweaks that if you reread it, you would notice, which, I mean, if you're like me, you don't really reread books because you don't have time, but just letting you know, this version is even better. And I want to offer a double package deal where they're both inscribed for hopefully what will also be the cheapest I can get away with, and still get them to you, with all of that inscriptions and stickers and whatnot intact. So I'm super excited for all of these ways that you can access the story. That is the big announcement. I'm not pregnant. There's nothing actually, going on in life or with the show or anything. And nothing's changing. I'm still going to be here. It's just the book is done. The book is done. Woo! I don't know. If you've written a book, you know the feeling. It's like if you've had a baby, you probably know the feeling. Like you carry this thing around for a while and you're gestating it, you're putting all your time and energy into it, and it's your little fucking creation, you're holding on to, and then you're done and you birth it out into the world and it's separate from you finally. It's this hugely momentous feeling, and I'm just very excited, and I'll stop talking about it now because it's probably the most boring part of this show to everyone but me. But I had to let you guys know. You have to know about it. I'd love it if you go take advantage of that free, Kindle edition if you can. And I also, woo, not pregnant. And I also am very excited to share the paperback with you. So so that's it. That's what I had to share with you tonight. And Irene Schnabel, welcome. I'm sure you've been here for a while, but I just saw you. So nice to see you here. But so go check out the Millie documentary, the Shadowgate, if you want to, and keep your mind open to the things that you can learn from it and the things that actually are going on and being brought back to light. And also keep your mind open to the possible misconstructions, the misleading aspects that are going to kind of shoot us off into the wrong directions. We always want to keep our critical mind on and look at things from all possible perspectives and see the trap before we fall into it. But again, you can take good from it, and even using your critical thinking skills to find the traps is not a bad practice. Keep yourself sharp, So go check that out. And then also get your free version of Earth, A Trough in Time, and share it with everyone you can. Post that on Facebook. Share that link. Tell them it's free. Spread it far and wide, especially in my stead, since I cannot do it for myself because I am not able to post on Facebook. And until you are the master of your own domain, you birth all of your ideas into fruition and share them with the world in a way that can strengthen you and them and the world all at once, no matter the traps that are laid for you by the dark forces in the world. Travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first. Mwah.
I heard the man, they at it again, and I'm out to tell the truth once more. That's right. It's on the cracking, unknown in the house. APOGZ, that's right. Hitting the stereo near you. Truth is the best thing, and it's on. Yo, I once thought that I wanted to get Denver on track, but there's something more bigger than that. Something lurking, waiting to blow this state right off the map. A hidden agenda related to September. Doves carved up on the wall next to the highway. Up in the concrete, while rolling home next to where I stay. With state's destruction, like Key Martin malfunction. While NORAD's in the mountain anticipating our next move. My heart's jumping and I'm like, fuck waiting. While crooked taxes are burning a hole in my pocket. With a dollar bill in the pyramid that's watching. Instead of having a capstone on top of it, they have an eye with a fast surprise while you're flossing it. Greedy niggas jocking it, politics plotting it. So who you vote for really doesn't mean shit. So save your energy from being drained by the enemy. Skull and bones of Freemasonry, envisioning dreams of them chasing me. Skull and bones of Freemasonry, envisioning dreams of them chasing me. Skull and bones of Freemasonry, secret agencies with a plan to dominate all of man. Check the records of DIA, strange murals and paintings similar to the ones next to the highway. With pyramids and flames underneath them looking like they're about to fly away. I can't be tripping, but it sounds like I'm on acid. Most people slipping, taken below DIA, held captive in the near future, where they won't hesitate to reinstate new laws for a bigger cause. I'm talking about established civilian concentration camps, introducing the military's labor programs. Expand your mind just a little bit, forget the little shit before you witness the belittlement of your people. Expand your mind just a little bit, forget the little shit before you witness the belittlement of your people.
Feds ain't stretching the truth, the script that he's spitting is true. Pay attention to what's going on or it might happen to you. When it's happening to you, cellular communication monitor, behavior studied and controlled through chemicals bombing the nerve. This word of Jesus ain't got anything to do with it, religious cynic, where experiments cage and lace in terms of accepting limits. Things that can't explain to the sky when I'm in the Rockies. Chakra systems limited due to the voltage overhead pop. Mind control victims, slap clips and machine guns for recess. FCC will help us speak less, manipulate us through weak feel right now fiction with the CIA trying to kill me filthy. Talking about the underground facility at DIA, no one feel that place laced with hints. Notice whenever I return home, black sun references in a new world Masonic capstone. Employ an Area 51 workers to build, and I don't mean to rant. In the face of an emergency, it doubles as a FEMA camp. Thought reaction, solution, trickery, repeated through history. NORAD's listening in, using technology, tracking where you piss. I'm not even paranoid or just facing the fact. Better watch what you say, it's another day under the Patriot Act.
Extend your mind just a little bit, forget the little shit before you witness up a little bit of your people. Extend your mind just a little bit, forget the little shit before you witness up a little bit of your people.
The idea is to bring people to the point where they are helpless, passive, and unable to assert their own creative power to form anything else. Success for people like this is measured in terms of money, which they then translate into power. Corruption and violations of the Constitution. Secret societies, the push for one world government. I'd like to get corruption and violations of the Constitution. The idea is to bring people to the point where they are helpless, passive, and unable to assert their own creative power to form anything else.